F0 は部屋を明るくしてテレビから離れてみてくれたまえ。
F-Zero, a high-speed, futuristic racing series, and one of the most criminally neglected properties in Nintendo's lineup. But hey, at least the series gave us Captain Falcon, a guy so badass he made it into every installment of Smash without ever having left his whip. Most notable in F-Zero GX, the hardest video game ever made, F-Zero's story is incredibly over-the-top and campy. As you'd probably expect from an intergalactic racing tournament that welcomes bounty hunters, street thugs, androids, celebrities, aliens, immortal supervillains, and pretty much everyone else who can drive.
What do you want? Wait a minute! What do you think this is? What a scam! That's up 2 million space credits! Ha!
But in 2003, Ashi Productions rebooted F-Zero by means of an anime series, F-Zero Legend of Falcon, which was only partially dubbed in English as F-Zero GP Legend, so we be subbing today. This show ran for 51 episodes straight, no breaks. So let's just watch the beginning, middle, and end. Starting with the opening lap, Legendary starts. We begin with a standard F-Zero race, rendered in simple but effective CG. And despite the fact that the captain and his Blue Falcon are present, we instead zoom in on this completely new character. And with that, they're off. There's very little I can say to add to the F-Zero race scenes, because they are pretty much perfect from the visuals to the sound design to the fucking fantastic music.
Hey buddy, I just wanted to let you know you left your fuel door open. You should probably close it so you don't damage your— Oh god, I had a family!
After a slightly clumsy audio transition, we cut to a flashback set 150 years in the past, which, as of this recording, is 30 years in our future. Shout out to 57-year-old me. Glad you're still kicking. I hope you're still kicking. Here we learn the backstory of our new protagonist, Ryu Suzaku, a New York-based racing champion, soon-to-be husband to his loving fiancée, and cop. I wonder what will happen to him. After this genuinely horrific accident, Ryu is cryogenically frozen. You know, until the cure for multiple lacerations, whiplash, and bisection are discovered.
Hey, that guy you hit was trying to warn you about your filler cap. Asshole!
ここで負けたら
何のために蘇ったかわかんねえからな。
Continuing with the flashback, Ryu is resuscitated in the year 2201, where he meets Dr. Stewart, Jodie Summer, and Jack Levin of the Mobile Task Force. But unable to comprehend his situation, Ryu hijacks one of their racing vehicles in order to find Haruka.
ところであんたは。行く！やめろ！
Maybe handing this machine's keys to a complete stranger was a bad idea. Well, it seems Comic-Con is still around.
なんだこいつ。パワーを上げるにはどうするんだ。分かってるよ。
Oh god, I hate that. Oh no, that is far too relatable. Managing to maneuver the vehicle back to his rendezvous points, the sad reality sets in for him.
はるか。
Which is when Jack turns up to initiate him with a race. Being Jack Levin, though, he does take Ryu to a daytime nightclub first. Ladies, please! I'm old enough to be your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
てめえが負けたらそのドラゴンバードは俺がいただくからな。
そっちこそ開けて泣くなよ。
And so, a dope race scene ensues, with the possession of this new F-Zero racer on the line. However, since he still doesn't actually know how to drive the thing, Ryu is at a severe disadvantage. With Jack the victor, a surprisingly uninjured Ryu begrudgingly returns to the base. However, his past comes back to haunt him. With Zoda being back in business, something that players of the games would see coming as soon as he was introduced, Ryu's resolve to hunt him down is stronger than ever.
おいおい、そりゃないぜ、約束が。
頼む。
そんなに言うなら、まあいいか。
As such, he becomes a member of the task force.
やられるかよ。
Hey! Your gas hatch is open!
簡単には勝たせてくれねえか。行け！
このレースは全銀河系規模で開催される宇宙最高のビッグレースなんだ。え、20世紀にもあったって？そんなもん目じゃないよ。なんといっても優勝者はこの宇宙のスーパースターなんだ。
Alright, jumping forward to the midway points, we have lap 26, Zoda's Ambition. Wow, what a lucky episode to land on. This episode starts with Zoda handing a very dangerous MacGuffin to one Miss Killer, an evil persona taken on by Haruka. Meanwhile, Ryu, who was injured while trying to protect said plot ball, is getting yelled at by his squad for ditching the hospital.
いっちゃー。
怪我人はおとなしくおねんねしてなっちゃい。
ジャック。
Anyways, Zoda takes his opportunity to backstab both Miss Killer and his boss, Black Shadow, by remotely detonating the whatchamacallits. What happens next, though, is some king shit.
特大大盛りだ。上にショートケーキを乗せてな。
どうぞ。
おお、早いな。生きてやがったのか。お
Black Shadow called in his ride, bailed, and rode straight over to Zoda, both to mock him for his failed assassination attempts and to jab the pain sphere directly into his chest.
お許しを、ブラックシャドウ様。
リアクターマイトの本当の使い方を教えてやる。
After this, Zoda is shown staggering around Mute City, or New New York as Futurama calls it. He's sad, destitute, and screams about his criminal past to a bunch of random passerbys. However, being so thoroughly washed up, nobody gives a shit, which culminates when Ryu doesn't even recognize him.
大丈夫かじいさん。おう、気をつけてなじいさん。
Utterly dejected by this, Zoda flies into a rage and uses his embedded goober to unlock his ultimate form. Joke's on him though, now he probably won't fit into his car in this racing anime. Shit, never mind, he's in his car. We're all doomed, the vehicular rampage begins.
おらおらおらおらおら。
This is now my second favourite anime, where a big buff purple man yells aura aura aura. So, despite getting another bollocking for playing the hero whilst injured, Ryu chases Zoda down and confronts him.
Zoda! お前を逮捕する!
In response to this, the jacked up Zoda flies towards and commandeers the task force's airship, threatening to destroy the city with it. This is when Ryu is forced to pull off his special attack. And yes, he has a vehicular special attack.
Burst of fire!
Okay, it's no spinning dog missile, but I would argue that it is the next best thing. However, when they get outside their vehicles... Thankfully for Ryu, Zoda overloads himself and burns out. In a worryingly Akira-like fashion. But before the task force can bring him in, Black Shadow arrives, using his own special ability to banish Zoda into the void.
さっきのブラックシャドウの技、俺と同じだった。何を驚いている。私のブルーファルコンとお前のドラゴンバード、そしてブラックシャドウのブラックブルは他の F0 マシンとは違う兄弟のようなもの。
Oh my god. Falcon, Ryu, and Black Shadow all have the same stand power. I mean, car power. Actually, I was right the first time.
確かにリュウさんの活躍はすごかったですけどね。あの宇宙で最高に美しい青い宇宙船、そうファルコンフライヤー。最高速度は全銀河1。ブルーファルコンとドッキングすることでより個性能を発揮できる優れもの。
Now, I've watched enough anime to know that if I just jump straight to the final episode without context, I'll likely just get confused. So, let's watch the penultimate episode first. Lap 50. Black Shadow.
はるかリュウスザク、お前がパーフェクトにリアクターマイトを育て、はるかを助けに来るのを待ってるぞ。
So with Haruka finally remembering herself, she's taken hostage by Black Shadow.
恋人ってブラックシャドウの手下だった女じゃない？運命のいたずらとはいえ、竜も水郷ね。どこがいいのかな?
Ah, yes. Thank you for your input, Captain Incel. Always a displeasure.
ゴロ。
人の精神力には計り知れないものがある。いかなる天の力をも気力次第で打ち勝てるものだ。見ろ。
Ryu prepares for his final mission by training with Samurai Goro, who, in this show, is less of an asshole than he is in the games. So, maybe with that in mind, shouldn't you have dropped his militant nationalist flag?
ミスキラー、行ってくるぞ。見ておるがよい。
With Haruka being sealed in a block of actual carbonite, BS prepares to enact his plan, jump-starting a new Big Bang and forming an evil universe in his own making. To do this, he needs 6 of the doodads, one of which he claims there and then from the now unbanished Zoda. With Ryu and Captain Falcon holding the 3 remaining thingamajigs between them, they are both lured into BS's space base, where it is revealed that 2 of the show's major villains, Deathborn and Don Genie, are both BS's alter egos. Yeah, this show definitely doesn't follow the same plot as the games.
Black Shadow, you failed again. You good for nothing.
Forgive me, Lord Death.
これからキャプテンファルコンと暗黒ガス雲に向かう。
先生の教室は残念ながら今日でおしまいです。今までおはがきありがとう。
Okay, that's all the context I needed. Let's move on to the final episode, and the show's namesake. Lap 51, The Legend of Falcon. Waging all-out war with Earth, BS waits for both Ryu and Falcon to arrive at the core of his dark matter reactor, which is preceded by a racetrack. Because of course it is.
奴の狙いは私たちのリアクターマイト。
ここから先正しいルートはわからない。二手に分かれよう。な。
Ignoring the semi-frequent cuts to the task force who are engaged with the space battle, because who cares, Ryu and BS engage in a race battle, with the entire universe at stake.
私の夢が実現するのだ。愛しい人と一緒に死なせてやろう。これが私のせめてものを鼻抜けだ。
Falcon, who, it turns out, is actually Jodie Summer's brother here, rescues Haruka amidst the chaos. He then wishes his sister goodbye, as he vows to defeat Black Shadow once and for all.
私に代わって逆方向へ走れ。
ダークマターリアクターをオーバーロードさせるんだ。
しかし、
ブルーファルコンの一つしかないリアクターマイトでは止めることしかできない。
At Falcon's command, Ryu begins to pour all of his energy into his power spheres, all with the hope of overloading the reactor. For those of you familiar with late 2000s meme culture, I'm sure you know what happens next.
Boost! Fire! Full power!
私の夢がブラックシャドウ地獄の道行きはどうやらお前と私になりそう
Stop! Before we continue, I have a little segment for you. The origins of the Falcon Punch.
In the late 90s, Masahiro Sakurai and Satoru Iwata were developing a fighting game for the Nintendo 64. This game, called Dragon King, would have featured an original roster of martial artists who would rack up damage on one another with the ultimate goal of knocking their opponents off screen. This game, as many of you have likely guessed, was reworked into a mascot fighter and renamed Super Smash Bros. But one of the characters who debuted in this fighter, Captain Falcon, came from F-Zero, a racing game. As such, his potential moveset for a fighting game was unclear. However, history was made when it was decided that Falcon's moveset would be based on one of the scrapped Dragon King fighters, one whose neutral special move looked like this. This move was fairly memorable, albeit impractical due to the wind-up time. But in 2001, with the release of Super Smash Bros. Melee, Falcon's punch was tweaked somewhat. Falcon! Everything about this punch was turned up by just a notch. The wind-up time, the power of the impact, the vocal accompaniment, the fiery screeching Falcon effects. Just like that, Falcon Punch became iconic, mimetic if you will. However, one of the greatest contributing factors to the move's popularity, well,
just watch.
Captain Falcon!
ファルコンを超えた者だけがファルコンになれる。ユースザク、今日から君がキャプテンファルコンだ。私は死なんぞ。ファルコンアーム。
キャプテンファルコン！
You didn't have to go that hard. But you did, and I love you for it. Leaving both Falcon and Black Shadow completely obliterated was a bold move. And in most family-friendly anime, this moment of grief would be undercut by a battered Falcon emerging from some nearby rubble. But no. Both of them were nuked out of existence, and the show actually commits to a bittersweet ending. Ryu and Haruka are finally able to marry. And jumping forward 6 years, we see Clank, the Task Force's dorky little whiz kid, taking Ryu's place and piloting the Dragon Bird. Meanwhile, Ryu himself has become the next Captain Falcon. So this whole time, we were in fact watching Captain Falcon's origin story. This ending fucking rules. Why yes, thank you for asking. 2 F-Zero games released in this show's universe were released for the Game Boy Advance. F-Zero GP Legend and F-Zero Climax, the latter of which, quite insultingly, didn't even make it to the West. So, feel free to pirate that one. And even more agonizingly, these critically acclaimed titles were the last 2 F-Zero games Nintendo would ever release. Not counting the arcade game. As of this video, it is now 2021, And I think I speak for everyone when I say that Nintendo's neglect of F-Zero is utterly flabbergasting. Well, that is until we get a brand new F-Zero game announced for E3 this year. Right, Nintendo? Right? Well, that is F-Zero's anime for you. Much better than I thought it would be, would highly recommend. Here's hoping you all enjoyed the video, especially my lovely patrons. Anonymous, Dan Brown,
Fitzwilliam Ramsbottom,
Jack Mortar, Pixel Pusher, Pokepal, Shameboy, Thomas Walker, and Toon Pirates.
Yes! Come on! Show me your moves!